Hey guys, it's Comicbookjunkie here again. Coming to you with my first part of my April haul. Probably a two-parter. I don't have all the books yet, so it'll definitely be a two-parter. And also a random act of kindness. Eddie the Comic Guy sent me a couple Daredevil books here, which is pretty funny because I also sent Eddie the Comic Guy some Daredevil books, and apparently we both opened them at about the same time, so we sent thank yous at about the same time. But so he sent me number 229. Number 230, and number 233. So now on to the haul. As I've been advertising some of my other videos, this month will be my best haul yet. I had a lot of money to additionally spend with some of the stuff that I had sold. So I got Gold Key, Flash Gordon, number 1. I just love these covers. There's a dinosaur on there, plus a spaceship. I mean, come on, every kid likes like dinosaurs and spaceships when they were a kid. Still like them as an adult, too. It also came with this one as well. And then, everybody knows I like the stuff of Legends. So, these books are supposedly limited to 1,000. They're part of Larry's limited edition. I just picked them up because of the cool artwork that's done on them, and they're all signed. I got these all for $10 a piece. So I got that one, this one, they came in 4 packs, so that's why I got 2 that are similar right here, but all the rest of them are pretty different. I mean, these are got sketches on here, hand drawn, I mean, for $10, I figure you can't beat that. The rarity doesn't matter to me. It's more just the cool art. So got all those. And then picked up this Lady Death cover, which is signed. It's limited to 200 books. It's Dragon Wars number 1, and I really like a lot of the variants covers. But again, it's kind of a warning to people about how the value of these could really go down. Lady Death's a perfect example. I mean, they've been doing these different special covers for a long time now. It used to be like 3,000 was the limited, and then they've gone lower and lower. They got a lot of them that are 25. Now there's so many different variants for Lady Death that I have no idea. I can't keep track of them all. Just search on eBay for a variant Lady Death, and you'll see all kinds of really cool covers. And I like picking up the cool covers, but I got this for $20. So, if this was the only one of these that they'd done this with, I'm sure this book would be worth a lot more. But like the Dragon Wars, just the Dragon Wars alone, there's so many different variants that are signed and stuff. But I just got this because I love the cover. So if it goes up in value, it goes up in value. But I personally like it, so that's why I got it. And for my first ever graded 10.0 book. However, though, and I've heard a lot of people talk negative things about PGX, and I would agree, because if you can see up here, now that does not appear to be part of the book if you look at it closely, but it looks like a little bit of the plastic or something that when they graded this, it's like got a bluish tint to it from the plastic on the inside, so it's kind of weird. But this is Lady Death Damnation Games, and this was a graphic novel, and it was limited to 150 in this version. But I got this for $90, and it's graded 10.0, signed, and it's limited to 150. So that's a perfect example that, limited to 150 doesn't mean as much when there's so many different books in the Lady Death world that are all limited edition books. But I love that volcano in the back and the horse with the fire and stuff. So I picked it up for that reason, and it kind of say I have a 10 point. I've never had a graded 10-point book before. So excuse me. Now this book and the next book I found accidentally doing the search for something else, and they came up in the search, and I ended up picking them up. This one is The Precinct, and I got this for like $15. It's limited to 200. The cover just looks really cool, like steampunk. I don't know anything about this book, but I just love the cover. It is limited to 200 and the dynamic forces, and it comes with a little certificate and the seal on the back. But I think it's cool to have books that are limited like that, even if they're not worth a ton. And then this one, I love this book. I don't know anything about it. I might try to pick up the other books in this series to see what it's like. But it's called The Pack, and it's the Third World book. It's signed by Mike Ratchett, and it's limited to 100. And right now there's about 4 or 5 of these on eBay. And I saw this in a search, and I searched for it to see if I could get any different one cheaper, and I got this for $25. So to me, the cover alone was worth that. I mean, you get that green werewolf in the back, and the eyes glowing red. I mean, this is just an awesome looking book. Now, so far, all these books, none of them are on my list, but I do in this haul have some books that are on my list. So this will be the first one on my list. And this is the Escape from Monster Island. This is the Boba Fett variant cosplay that was limited to 350 books. Well, one, I love Boba Fett, and I just thought this was just such a sweet looking cover. I got this for about $50 on eBay, and I don't see really anything wrong with it. It's pretty high grade. So that's one of the books that I had on my list. I'd scratch my list off, but it's upstairs. Then this one here I've been looking for a long time, and I finally found a first edition of Scud the Disposable Assassin. And it's also signed by Rob Schrab. And I've been looking for a higher grade copy of this. It's hard to find any grade copies of this. I don't know what the print run was of this, but I cannot find this book anywhere. I would have liked to have gotten a little bit higher grade, because it's got a couple little things here and here. And then it's also like right in here. It's hard to see, but it looks like the black ink from one of the other books up against it just rubbed off a little bit on it. It's minor, but the fact that this one was signed, it's still a pretty high grade copy. The yellow and the red and the blue looks great, and the corners look actually good on this book. It's just all little ticks on the spine, but I figured that I had to pick that up. So that's my second one off my list in this haul. And then I picked up Air Pirates Funnies #2. Now, this is actually signed by Denny O'Neil, and it's got a little drawing on it. I wanted to get #1, but the people that had this, and it's got a sketch, they wanted way too much for it, and I just wasn't willing to pay what they were asking. But this book, I saw it on someone else's videos, and I immediately was like, oh, I want to get that book. Denny O'Neil and a handful of other artists formed the Air Pirates, and they basically knocked off Disney, and they made it about putting people in situations that Disney hated. So you can see here that Mickey and Minnie are being held up, and the guy's stealing their dope. And Denny O'Neil went out of his way to make Disney mad at him. He actually gave some kid these books that was going to be was the son of one of the kids in the board, their parents in the board. So when they had their board meeting, the kid was reading these books. So after the first 2 of these, Disney sued them and got them to where they weren't allowed to make any more of these books. And I guess that didn't stop them there either, because then they made another book, and it's called The Tortoise and the Hare. And my understanding is this was either limited to 2,000 or 4,000. I'm thinking 2,000. And basically Disney went after him for this, and so, as the story goes, 1,000 of these were 1,000 or 2,000. If it was 4,000, Disney managed to get back and destroyed. So there might be 1,000 to 2,000 of these still in existence. Now that sounds really rare. I just love the story of it, and I think the history of this is really cool. So I picked it up. Now the price on here says $50, but I only paid $25 for this with shipping. And it sounds really rare, and it seems like a really cool story. But there's a ton of these on eBay. I just kind of went down through them and made offers until someone accepted. So, but these aren't on my list. But just love the story of the Air Pirates. I'd love to get the #1, but I'm not going to spend $100 and some on it. Next on my list, which is another one check off my box, is the Stuff of Legends, the Boogeyman edition, the second printing. It's in black and white. It's 497 out of 500. I just love this stuff of Legends stuff, and this cover is just awesome. I really want to get the first edition one, which is also on my list, but I'm kind of thinking that's probably not going to happen this year. I mean, I know I have it on my acquire list this year, but the prices that people are asking are just ridiculous. I mean, there's only two on eBay, and the one that's in nice condition, they want $2,000. I wouldn't even pay you $1,000 for this book. I mean, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a Stuff of Legends book. I mean, the only book I've ever spent that kind of money on was my Hulk 181, and that was, that one's gone up in value, but that was something that I picked up several years ago. So the number one's probably going to be scratched off. So this is probably the next best thing. And then this one, I don't even think I had this one on my list, but I love this one. This book is just the cover. I like this one, I think, better than the first one. And I got both of these for, I think the one was like 70, and I got this one for about 100, which I think it was that. It might have been 80 to 100. It was cheap, especially compared to the ones that they currently have on there. But this is I just love this cover. I mean, I could just stare at it for hours looking at all the little details in this cover. But this is another one that's limited to 150. But again, as more as I keep coming out with more of these limited covers, to me, the less value that they're going to be worth. But I love the cover, so it's worth it to me. And then the next book I'm going to show you guys is the rarest book that I have. It was on my list, and I honestly didn't think I would get it, but I did actually find it. So this is the Mr. T Steranko cover, which is signed by Steranko, and supposedly, as the story goes, there's an estimated amount of these of like 15. I don't know if that's true or not. There might be a couple hundred, but it's definitely rare. There's a colored one, and then there's this one that's like a sketch type cover, which this is the one I really liked. I thought it looked a lot cooler on as this one with the Mr. T in color, with the rest of it not. And supposedly this book these were books that were created for Mr. T's approval, and he was against this book because of the girl on the front cover, and they didn't end up making the book. So supposedly there's only like 15 of these. Now, to me, you hear all that stuff, and it sounds like, wow, this thing's worth thousands of dollars. I got this book for $70, and I love this cover. I think it's an awesome cover, and to me, that's worth it. I mean, I always liked Mr. T. I used to be a big fan of the A-Team, and just a neat story of this book, whether it stays true or not. It surprises me that it is as cheap as it is, and I just picked it up. And then another book, I showed this in one of my other videos, but this is a book that I got, and that is Savage Tales #1, graded 9.2. And this is on my prize possessions now. I mean, this one's another one that came up in a search accidentally. I've been looking for this book for years. It's not on my list, but every time I've seen it in any higher grade, they've wanted $1,500 or something like that for anything in the 9s. The 7s, they wanted $1,000 on a lot of them. So I got this really cheap. Well, not really cheap. It still was expensive, but it was the second most I've ever paid for a book. But still, for the this is the first appearance of the Man-Thing. It's a second Conan comic title, and the cover is just awesome with Conan holding the head up, and it's just an awesome book. And it's hard to find these in high grades. One, it's hard to find them at all, but since they're the magazines, a lot of them were in pretty poor grades. So pretty excited to have this. And like I said, I have some more books coming, and I'll show those off later. I was able to sell some stuff recently, so it gave me a little influx in cash to spend, which I overspent that and then some, especially with getting this Conan book. But I have a few more cool books coming as well to show off, and then my month is definitely done. So I'm done purchasing for April, even though April is just getting started. So we'll see how that goes to the end of the month. I struggle at not buying it. eBay is a virus, man. You get on eBay and you look at some of that stuff, and you see some of these prices, and you're like, oh, well, I'll make an offer. They won't accept that, and sometimes they always do. And they almost always do when it's the time when you really shouldn't be spending money. It's like, oh, well, great price, but. So, got some other cool, rare stuff coming. Real excited to get some of these books. Got some to check off my list, and I'll check those off on my next video. But, like I said, I'm probably going to have to give up on that Boogeyman Stuff of Legends #1. I really want to get that, but unless I see somebody that's selling it for a reasonable price, I'm not going to come anywhere near $1,000. I mean, I personally think it's worth about maybe $300 at the most. But I mean, I know like Hero Hunter 81, I think he sold 2 of them for $300 to a dealer. So if he sold them to the dealer for that, the dealer's probably selling them for at least $600 would be my guess. So probably won't end up getting that book. But anyways, never know. Maybe somewhere down the road, like this book here, I never thought I'd get, and I've been looking for it for years, and I ended up getting it. So that's the great thing about collecting. You just never know. Talk to you guys later.